My name is Marvelous Nakamba.
My name is Ethan Dodd.
My name is Akila Robinzinzile Kanye.
Do you remember us? Well, we remember you, and we are proud to say that we are back.
And of course, the duo that brings you the A to Z of sport.
6 years.
It is a very good afternoon and a hearty welcome to Rivalry Stadium for Matchday 26 of the Psl Premier Soccer League. Scotland returned to action after a short break caused by their international match against Kaizer Chiefs in South Africa in the Toyota Challenge Cup, and today they're back home at their hunting ground Riyadh here at Rivalry Stadium to face a Mwos side rivalry that did begin in the Northern Region Soccer League and it translated into the Premier Soccer League last season, and it saw such big matches that they brought. Good Mwos today held that is the Scotland Juggernaut this afternoon. That's a story that will be told in 90 minutes of a match that we're going to be giving you live right here on ZBC TV. My name is Valentine Mapugu, and of course I'm a man who never walks alone, and I've got Spencer Nyamazao Sparrow. It's good to have you on the show. Lovely afternoon for a beautiful game of football.
Thanks, Baba. Good afternoon, a beautiful day for football, and of course this match there, like you rightly put it across, it comes dating back from the Northern Region Division 1. These are two teams they battled in the Northern Region Division 1, and now they're doing better in the Premiership. They know each other in and out. It's a local derby between these two matches, and it's a game that knows no form. Any team can win, depending on who wants to win on that day.
Quite interesting, and of course we've got also he comes in like a gladiator in mid-March because he's looking as such like a true gladiator ready to deliver. Max, good to have you on the show, and indeed this doesn't come bigger than this for Mwos, off a bounce of 2 consecutive victories, 2 wins in 3, another one being a draw, of course, but a good bounce back for that is Lloyd Samai Tamtaza. This game could mean so much more for him.
Yeah, so much confidence coming from the Northern boys, and like what Spencer said, I mean, these two teams, if you go to last season where Mwos started very well, and at some point we thought they were going to go all the way, unfortunately just falling off, and this season as well, I think Lloyd Matasa will be a little bit disappointed with where they are. But if you look on the other side with Scotland, I think they're quite brilliant so far. They're the defending champions, looking to get it again, and almost there, but they're still not yet there. But now builds up to this big game, because if you look at these two teams and the history that they have, probably not much to separate the two of them as well. And like you were just saying there, Valentine, you don't have to talk about form when you come to this one. It really doesn't matter. There's so much motivation that comes just because of how big this game is, and I think many of these players will be quite bored to play this one. Scotland, on the other hand, they've been actually reinvesting their squad. They look like they're on a mission to get their hands on the trophy again. Mwos would just want to put a dent on that.
Indeed, and that will be quite interesting. Looking at the rivalry, yes, Mwos not much to fight for this season. Yes, some might say their campaign for the season has been derailed. They can't really challenge for the championship, but they would love to do one better against Scotland. But Scotland's side, this is quite very consistent. They don't concede many, Sparrow, in this regard. And you look at a Mwos side that has been struggling to score, but we find Mensah now finding the back of the net, being the informed striker for them.
Well, like you put it correctly, Scotland don't concede more. I mean, in the last 5 games, only conceded 1 and scoring 9. So that's a team that has a solid defense, and I think at times we don't give the Scotland defense all the juice they need, especially Peter Mdua and Calvin. They have done a great job in terms of doing the defensive work for Scotland. I think they do a great job. Of course, Calvin Moyo will be missed because of the suspension. Nyasulu comes in, partners Peter Mdua. I think that the centre back has done a great job, a phenomenal great job. Mohamed Issa comes in for Emmanuel Jalai. He's also another player that has done very well. Twala on the left side. I think the back four really get a lot of credit, but they do a lot of job for Scotland. I mean, for Scotland to be where they are, these guys have held on.
Let's talk about Scotland themselves and look at their campaign, because I think we need to touch on that and look at where they are. Their lead being cut to 4 points after Hard Rock's victory last weekend when they were inactive last weekend. But let's look at the consistency that he brings into the side, and he doesn't have a change 11. Will it affect him at the end? Because there are so many games that are coming in. Next week we've got the Munumutapa Cup coming in as well. We've got also the Chibuku Super Cup coming in. We've got the Champions League coming in. The load on those first 11 that is consistently playing all the time, will it affect him?
Yeah, probably it will. And just a surprise, because just before the mid-season transfer window, they also got 5 new players on top. That is Scotland. So probably that is where the thinking is, that they will probably have to share the load between those usual starters. I think for some point we were just looking at the Scotland bench, and you're talking about the likes of Machope, and we thought they're probably not getting the minutes that they would want to get. And if you look at the way the season is now, probably this is the right time now where we see Mapeza doing that rotation, trying to give the other players the time in the cups, and then also just making sure that you maintain a fresh, enthusiastic vibe in that starting 11 as well. And if you were to look at those previous 5 games for Scotland, they have been dominant. I mean, actually, just one game that they lost to Irelanders, it was a big one, and they bounced back so well against Blair Chiefs, getting those 3 points. And I think if you look at Hard Rock as well, they've been putting much pressure on Scotland, and that's the exciting part about this season, Valentine. They are not just running away with it. There's so much competition, but those results talk for themselves. Probably second in terms of the number of goals they've scored, just behind Hard Rock in terms of Scotland. So the goals have been coming so well for them, and it's quite interesting to see how they approach this one this afternoon.
We did see something of an advert for those French players against Kaizer Chiefs that started the game, and people were saying there are surely some people that need to be knocking into getting to the first 11, particularly Emmanuel Ziwocha for on that right channel of attacker for them as well. Do you feel he's a player that they need more this time around to get the right minutes so that he gets into the right kind of form?
Well, I think Mapeza is spoiled for choice. I mean, he's got an array of players to choose from, and Emmanuel Ziwocha is one player who does very well, and I think he should be also getting some minutes, so he should be starting for Scotland. And you bring up a very important topic when you talk of the same 11 being played week in, week out. I mean, you need to also have confidence on the players that are playing on the bench. They also need to gain some minutes, because there's a lot of competitions coming. You've got the Chibuku Cup coming up, you've got the Munumutapa, you've got the Champions League. So you need to give a lot of players game time so that they can get also exposure of playing. The day you need them, as we see Mwos last 5 games, winning 2, losing 2 and drawing 1. Of course, Mwos scoring 5 goals and conceding 4 goals. It's a team that has not been scoring a lot of goals. I mean, but let's see how they'll come up against Scotland, because this one doesn't know any form, and it's a game that motivates themselves going back into to the Northern Region Division 1, and they'll want to, as we see the head-to-head there, Vava.
Indeed, look at the head-to-head. Scotland winning the first game 1-0. There are not too many scores in this encounter in the Premier Soccer League, and last season it was Scotland that dominated Mwos nonetheless, but this season Mwos winning as well. Last season winning the first game, losing the second game, and this season the first game Scotland winning it. So you look at that, and you look at the interesting aspect of the head-to-head. Is it a game that Lloyd Samaitam-Tessa, he has been a bit under pressure, but the last 2 games you have really kind of released that kind of pressure. Is this a game that you'll be judged with in terms of his pedigree, really?
Look, I think there was a very good reaction after they lost 2-0 to Dynamos at home, and that is Mwos. I think they reacted very well in the past 3 games as well. They've been able to get some points, and I think Lloyd Matchday, he's done very well. If you look at the squad that he has, and the experience of the other players that he did have, and the players that he also lost in that squad, going even to Scotland, you're talking about the likes of Moffat as well. I think he has managed to do well, but 8th on the log table, I think there will be a lot of judgment, because if you look at the fans of Mwos coming from Notre, they did believe that they were not only coming to the league just to be counted, but actually to compete. But so far I think they've done well, and interestingly, in the last 3 games, 2 of those games have won by the team that was been playing away. So I think that will be a confident booster for Lloyd Matchday. But it's a tight game. Low scoring as usual, not many goals as well. And if you look at these 2 teams, it's a story of one team that has been scoring freely, and also for Mwos, only 3 goals in terms of their goal difference. They have not been able to get those goals. So it does look like it's going to be another tight one between these 2.
So just to add on, Vale, I think I think Lloyd Matchday has been treated a bit harshly. I mean, if you look at the team, they haven't really invested. As we see Scotland arriving at Rufaro Stadium, I was saying, I mean, they've treated him not fairly, because they've not really invested in terms of getting quality players. as we see once again Scotland bus coach arriving.
Are you one of those
monitor,
who can tell the confidence of the players as they disembark from the bus to say, do they really want it? How much do they want it? The motivation and of course the pumping up of the players as they come out. Some are in their own zone, as you see them with headphones on and earpods and everything in between, Max.
Look, I think for Scotland, I mean, you want to keep your place in that team where, mid-season they're getting 5 more players again to add onto that squad, and you're probably on the bench. Perhaps your time on Machope, you're looking for a way to get back in the team. I think you just really got to focus on yourself and make sure that you zone in, like you're just saying. I mean, they have Moses Shidolo in the midfield, they have Abubakar Moffat in the start of the season. We were asking whether there was a time that we were going to be seeing those two playing together, and now we are seeing them playing together. So, I mean, there's abundance of talent if you're talking about Scotland. That also brings pressure to the manager in terms of managing the squad, and also to the players in terms of making sure that you put your best foot forward to be able to be selected.
Interesting. Let's talk about Scotland as we look at them as well. They've got some new players that they've added onto their bench, and quite interesting. We did see a bit of an exhibition from them last time around in South Africa as well. Your take in terms of the acquisition they've made. The last time we spoke about Brazilians, it was more of a joke, but this one looks a bit serious.
Well, Mavira, living up to the name. And I think they've done a great job of really adding value to the league. Yep. I mean, they've got a Brazilian coming in, playing in the local league. That speaks volume, and I think it also lifts up our league in terms of status. And I think, but my only worry will be, will these teams also give the same salaries they give to these foreigners, as we see Mwos arriving?
Indeed, the Mwos are arriving as well. That is today's opponents for Scotland in Matchday 26 of the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League. And as you can see, the boys are quite jovial. And of course, they miss a very important player in Ariso Mnyamba as well through suspension. And the captain gets to have a chance to come in for him as well.
I think the captain gets a chance to come in, and that's an important player, given that he started the last 2 games they won, and he was a key player, and he did a very great job. As we see the most players there jumping off the bus, nice and relaxed, confident, looking confident. This is one game they'll want to win. They'll want to play party spoilers. They wouldn't want Scotland to run away with it. They'll want to just cause trouble and just be the party spoilers.
And of course, you look at the 2 coaches, Max, and look at Lois Samaitamtasa. He's one man that I'm sure right now you would love to really spoil it for Scotland, and also to make it interesting for us neutrals to say Scotland can't run away with it. It has to go to the wire as well. And this is the kind of game that you would surely raise his hand for the paymaster to say, I've got something as long as you trust me and invest.
Yeah, definitely, because I think, like Spencer is saying, I think there's been too much criticism on Lloyd Matchday. I don't think if they lose him as a manager, Mwos will be anywhere near the top 5, top 8, because of how he has been a well-respected manager. The dressing room does respect him. He does have his own way of playing the game. He has proven that it works for them, for Mwos. Now coming into this game, there's no pressure on the boys. You're just seeing them off the bus as well. They look relaxed because they can't put any pressure on them. It's a mid-season where they're on 8th on the log table. Not much is going to change in terms of towards the end of the season. So they have to play this game not anticipating too much from their side, and the pressure is now on Scotland. And I think Mwos do have the kind of players that can actually make it a hard day for Scotland to collect the 3 points.
The focus on that number 27, he comes in for Emmanuel Jalai, that's Isaka Mohammed as well, and he's the man who started off playing on that right channel before Emmanuel Jalai came in, and now he has reclaimed his position. Quite an interesting change from Norman Mapeza.
Well, Mapeza just says the tactical change. I think he needs Moffat in terms of area, in terms of height in the box, because Mwos actually have taller players, so that can also deal with in terms of corner kick, set pieces. I think you need that. Yes, Jalai is a very good player, but I think like he said at the post-match, at the pre-match, what you are saying is just a tactical change, but let's see how it goes.
Indeed, and we'll look at Walter Msona as well. He's been in fine fertile form as well. Him and his brother getting the goals, that combination, that understanding with Kama Billiat as well. Let's talk about their front 3 a bit, and how Knowledge Msona connects those dots as well for the front runners. And they've got the bulk of the goals. Yeah,
look, I mean, it's just beautiful to see the combinations in front, and you're just saying Knowledge Msona there. We were always talking about his age, but he has been very surprising, almost all of us, in terms of how he has been able to manage himself and manage the workload, which is also credited to the head coach as well, Norman Mapeza. He has not overloaded them with the workload, and the combinations up front, Kama Billiat, the younger brother there, Walter Msona, I think they've been quite brilliant. probably the most prolific front three in the local PSL so far, and they've just been able to combine so well, and they just, I think, just feeding off each other's energy, and that's why they've been so clinical in front of goal. The chances that they create as well for themselves, probably not finishing as much as we want sometimes, but they've been brilliant. I think I'm quite impressed with how they played this season.
So, Vava, just add on to what Max is saying. I mean, if you look at Knowledge and Walter, these are boys from Katanga, where Mwos are housed, and the Mwos would really have loved to have these guys on the side, but unfortunately they are playing for Scotland, and so there's a bit of players that know each other. They're from Norton and Scotland players. That's Walter and his brother. Of course, Kama Bilal from Fakose, as we see Mwos warming up, just going through the paces.
Indeed, we look at Billy Veremu as well. He's a very important person for them. Him and Mensah, I mean, in front of goal, they don't have to be shy today.
I think Billy Veremu has been a key player for Mwos, as well as Mensah. Mensah is coming with those important goals, and is one player they'll need today to be on form, as well as Billy Veremu. They need to get those goals. Mutkambi is also another player that they also rely on, that will also play in the middle of the park if he can hold his own against the likes of Shidolo, and if he can also help get the ball forward to Mensah and the other striker, it will be really a great thing.
And of course, ball retention is what Norman Mapesa really thrives on, Max, as well, and keeping the ball, controlling the ball, try to stretch the opponent as much as well. That's what Mwos need to be very wary of, isn't it?
Yeah, tactically you're spot on there, Valentine. I think that's going to be the challenge. How much of the ball are they going to get? I think they won't mind Scotland having much of the ball, but when they get that position, you were just talking about Billy and Mensah. I think Mensah has done what to take off some of the pressure from Billy Veremu. There was so much expectation on Billy Veremu, but today on this game, I think they just have to make sure that when they utilize the small position that they're going to have, because as we all know, Scotland, that has been their trademark, getting much more of the position and making it work. I think Mwos will know that definitely that they won't be able to get much of the position, but they will be able to be hitting Scotland quite well on the counter, and as well using those long balls, especially on the set pieces. I think it's going to be very important for Lord Mutasa and his boys.
All right, let's get to hear from the coaches what they have to say and how they've prepared for this encounter tactically. You know they don't like giving much, but somehow we try and ask the questions to try, and so that you hear what they have to say about how they prepared for this match and how they're looking forward to this encounter.
Yeah, good afternoon, and good afternoon to all viewers back home. Look, in terms of our preparations, I'll talk about our preparations first. Everything went well. We came back on Monday from our game against Chiefs in South Africa, but I can't complain in terms of our preparations. And then if you look at the squad, we just made some few changes. Those are tactical changes. There's nothing much about it. Those are just tactical changes. Then we're facing a very good side today. If you look at the last 3 games, I think they've won 2 and drawn 1. So we're facing a very good side, quality players and a very good coach. We know the challenges. We still have another game in the end. But look, we can't count eggs before they're being hatched. So we have to win that game. Then we can talk of maybe us leading maybe by 7 points or 8 points. But for now, my attention is on this game this afternoon.
I think the rivalry, and I'm happy that we are playing against a Scotland side that is up there. And when you play against a team that is charging, it's very easy for you to motivate the boys. And they know this is the platform where stars are born, and I would want to see the boys probably having 1 or 2 youngsters being born today. When you play against the likes of Kamabiri, Knowledge, Jimson, and what, if you go back there, we are an attacking team. We would want to go forward. We would want to search for goals, because if you just sit back and you get that they will give them room to play. We want to give them room to play today.
So there you have it, the 2 coaches not giving much away there. We had, let's start with Norman Mapesa, Spencer. Of course, the preparations flying back into Zim from South Africa after that. Does it take the intensity of the match that they're going to be facing, because it was a less high-intensity game where they had to use two squads. In that, could it play against them or to their advantage as well? But they had the whole week to prepare. They were not in action.
Well, the good thing about what happened last week is all the players got game time. They got to run at least 45 minutes, and they came back on a Monday. They had a whole week of training. I think everything went well. They flew and they came back. So I think, like we had Norman Mapeza saying, he was happy with how they trained during the course of the week. Just a few tactical changes that he has made coming against it, which he says a very good team, Mwos, and a very good coach. So he knows the team and he knows the coach too.
Max, I'll give you Lloyd Samaitam Tasa. Yep. He was talking. We were talking about quickly as well. That was Lloyd Mtasa. As he mentioned today, that this is a very important game, the rivalry. It has existed for quite a long time.
Yeah, that's all we are looking for. I think the intensity of it would tell us a story from the beginning. I think there's no pressure on Mwos. They just have to play their game and keep to their task. And I think they'll be able to at least to make it challenging for Scotland this afternoon.
Well, I certainly hope you'll be enjoying this live broadcast right here on ZBC TV. And right now, let's take you to our match commentators. That is the elder Stanley Katsande, as well as John Kani, as they give us live commentary of the match between Scotland and Mwos, match day 26 of the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League.
Yes, standing by. A very good afternoon to you all, and welcome to Rivalry Stadium on a windy day, very cold as well in August, the first day of August. Certainly introducing the wintry weather that we will be experiencing throughout the month of August, the month of our heroes, as we get set to start here at Rivalry Stadium. Certainly it promises to be a very good encounter indeed, when two of the teams that finished first and second last season come face to face. Scotland, the home team, taking on Mwos, and Mwos, of course, have got revenge uppermost in their minds. They failed at the last hurdle in trying to upstage the defending champions, that is Scotland. And very soon the two teams will be walking onto the field of play. As you can see that they are now in the tunnel, and the match will start in a few minutes' time. If you are doing whatever it is that you are doing, please settle down. You can see there the Scotland manager, the Scotland coach, Norman Mapeza, walking to take his seat. He was actually saying it before the match that look, he's prepared for a big fight here. He respects Lloyd Mtasa and his team Mwos. They've been in the trenches. They know what to expect. And the two former players are exchanging pleasantries. Two veterans of the game, both played for the national team. But I think Norman Mapeza achieved more with the national team, being the captain for quite a long time indeed. And in the commentary box with me is Joe Nkani. Joe, looking at this game today here before we get underway, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, good afternoon, Stanley, and good afternoon to all our viewers out there. I think this afternoon we are poised to see a tightly contested game, because these two teams haven't had much to separate them. And you find that from the 3 times that they've met before, last season, Mwos only beat, in the 3 attempts that they've met, Mwos only won once, and Scotland winning 2 of the 3 encounters. So in essence, Scotland have always had that dominance over Mwos. But the interesting part is the winning team has always been winning by 1-0. So there's nothing much to separate the two of them, but say the grudge that they carry over from Division 1 up to the Premiership. And I think this afternoon we have every reason to believe that this game is going to be tightly contested.
It certainly promises to be very tight indeed, and because looking at the visiting team Mwos, they've employed 2 defensive midfielders, a clear sign that they would like to take control. And then Norman Mapeza has also responded by deploying 5 midfielders. Nobody wants to lose grip of this game here, as the two teams now are settling down, getting ready for the national anthem, Simuzai Mureza we Zimbabwe.